Hello guys, how's it going? Today we are going to make a joiner's bench, and it is made out of 2x4s. I have a lot of scrap 2x4s, so I have lengths at 6 feet, I have lengths at 16 inches, I have lengths at 2 feet, and yeah, it's a lot of scrap wood, but I decided to go ahead and we're going to make it. So originally there was a stud wall in this garage, and this is actually the timber from it. So we're recycling the wood from the uprights and the bridgers, and why waste it? Why not give it a go? So first job is to plane them all down. Yeah, let's crack on. Okay guys, I did have these previously numbered on the top edges, so I have a rough idea of where they're going, and there is six lengths in total at 6 feet. So my idea is this will be I suppose the full length strong one, so each side will clamp cuttings, and this will be the full length or guide to go by. I do at the end, whenever these are glued up in sections, to run them through the planer, just to square them off. So yeah, these here will act sort of as a guide, and it will make it less strong. Yeah, let's figure it all out. A slow jigsaw. We got there in the end. Okay guys, so we're ready to glue up. I have no bench to work off, so I have these scrap pieces of wood. They are fairly flat. The glue I'm using is Evo stick wood glue, the blue version, which is outdoor, so it's waterproof. I also have the clamps here. I am limited on what size of clamps I have. I have these 8-inch clamps, F clamps, and they are pretty decent, so I have 4 of them. Okay, so let's start. Oops, one thing I did forget to do. Okay guys, so I've got my beams glued together. They're in 4 pieces, and I'm going to run them through the planer now to square them off a bit. I have them all planed up and cleaned up a bit. I had to square them off a little bit with a hand plane, but that's alright. So we're just about to glue it up. So it's only 4 sections, so it shouldn't be too bad. Okay guys, so it's just come out in the clamp. It was in the clamp for maybe 2 days, so it should be plenty hard to smooth off the plane. I'm going to take my number 6 standing plane over it, square it all off, make it all flat. So it's going to take a wee while, but this will definitely level out on the joints and yeah, make a better job of it. Okay guys, so I've got my legs all planed up and we're now ready for cutting out half lap joints or housing joints, and I'm going to measure down approximately 2 feet for the narrower piece of the table to come across. So I measure down 2 feet, mark it off. What I'm using for the bottom bracing is 5 by 1.25 inches. I'm putting it in fully. I'm not going to half lap the 5 1/4 because you wouldn't have much left. So this full piece is going right in, down the full 1.25 inches, so it's sitting flush. I do intend using my table saw for this, as it will cut down nicely. I don't have a sled for it, but we'll manage without it. Okay guys, so if it's all quite roughly, so the quickest way to do it is just to beat out with a hammer. Like that. Take any rough bits, bigger bits out with the chisel. And then pass it through. So again. Okay guys, so I have got the legs glued up in a section, and I have the little cross membrane housed in, and it is looking pretty good. For the legs I actually used wooden skids. The wooden skids came from under loads of timber that you would see on lorries, and usually they would be thrown away for firewood or into the scrap, but I managed to get enough for the 4 legs, so these are glued up in one section and they're measuring approximately 5.5 inches by 2 3/4. So yeah, they should be strong enough for the table or the bench that I'm for building. I also have these cut out for notching into the top. I am doing the joint on these a little bit differently, but that's okay. I am going for like a small dovetail joint, and I'm going to mark these out here now. And for this, I made a little template out of plywood. This will give me my mark for the leg, and it'll also transfer my mark onto the tabletop so that they'll house in nicely. So for cutting these out, I intend using my tenon saw, which will give a nice clean straight cut. Okay guys, so that's a nice fit. If I can just do all four the same, we'll be flying. It has come the time to cut the bench. I can't say I'm looking forward to this bit, but we'll just have to get on with it. Yeah, I think 60 inches is a good marker point, so we'll start with that. So what I'm doing here is going to just simply put on my little template on, just set it on and mark around it. And this should give me an exact marker for my leg to fit in. So there we have it, and just I'm going to square this off. And also mark the back as well. And there we have it. Ready to cut. Okay, so that's that cut out. Now we just have to cut out the rest. And I think I may use my router to do this. That is one side completely cut out. I think it's looking pretty good. Let's get the other side done. This is how I'm holding up the bench while I'm working at it. Just use the table legs and clamps to clamp her steady, and she's going nowhere. Okay guys, so with all the dovetails cut out of the table, it's now time to glue up. I'm going to glue it upside down. So yeah, let's get on, we'll glue it. Okay guys, so I have the legs in. I am now putting the cross members in, and I have just decided to glue and dial these in and clamp it until it all sets. The reason I didn't put any housing joints in this, the leg itself is only about 2.5 inches wide, and I didn't really want to house into that, so I just decided to glue it and dial it. And whenever the glue is set, I do intend putting a piece of timber along in here between the two to sandwich them all together, and that will keep it nice and tight. So one bracing on, the other one to go.
Okay guys, so finally got this table finished. The last clip you were seeing was me sanding all down, sanding the top down with a 180 grit. I started off with an 80 and then just working my way up to 120. And to be fair, it didn't need much sanding after being planed. It came up pretty decent. After sanding it down, I put in 16 dog holes for clamping and holding different pieces. I just bored them out with a 20mm bit and then rounded them off with a router just to tidy them up. And after that, got on with the varnishing. What I used here was a polyurethane varnish, and this is very tough wearing, and it is pretty good stuff. I'm a big fan of Rustin's brand stuff, and I've never had any bother with it, and I've put a nice hard top on it. You may have noticed this design over here and you're thinking, why is that in there? And there's a couple of reasons, to be honest. One of the reasons is there was quite a bit of a gap, just a rough edge on one of the joints, and I didn't really like the look of it. So I had some scrap mahogany window framing. So I put in these here for squaring off pieces. These are all squared off with the table, and then I decided to put in a couple of 45s just for whenever you're doing some 45-degree angle stuff. I thought that actually brought the table out quite nicely and just lifted the whole character of it. It is very good. I have used it a couple of times so far. I've used the squares, haven't used the 45 yet, but again, they were too hard to router in whenever I was doing it. And yeah, I think it sets it off a wee bit better. So another addition to my workbench is this vise, and as a record per clamp vise, it has become very useful. And of course, you need a vise on your work table. It makes things a whole lot easier. I just decided with this one because I had it from before. You may also notice underneath that I have used the bottom bracing for holding my large clamps, and it is perfect size for that, and the 6 of them fit over that quite nicely. Okay guys, so we're going to do a wee shock test with this mallet, and we want to see how much these bounce. And we'll hit a good skate at the other side of the table, and we'll soon see. Barely even moved, and that's exactly what I want from my workbench. Okay guys, so the bench is finished, and it did cost me some money, and the only money it did cost was for 2 tins of this polyurethane varnish and just over a jar of wood glue. And between that, the whole table cost just under £30, and the rest was all scrap wood, as I mentioned before. This here design, it actually came from, the wood from it came from a mahogany window frame, and I just cut the frame down and recycled the wood out of it. So that's where that came from, and the rest of it was from 4x2s and old skids. So not a bad table for £30, pretty sturdy, and I'm sure it will last me for a long time. Okay guys, so if you like the video, please don't be afraid to hit the like button, and if you want to see some more future videos, hit the subscribe button and you'll see more content coming from me. I am only new to making videos, so please bear with me as I learn the whole video editing process. Alright guys, thank you.